Pull up a chair, all of you in the back. Grab some popcorn. We need to have a discussion here. When it comes to dogs, they actually perform rituals. Now, what you're looking at, people, looks like a ritual. They've formed in a circle, and the dog is in the center of the circle. This is the closest thing you can get to actual worship. Let me tell you, there's no way under the sun I would let my child be under the care of you freaks. This is a middle school, and I know that they don't have permission to do this. They forced that dog onto them kids. They got that dog in the yearbook. Notice how they have the dog above all the other students. Do you think it's a coincidence that the laws put dogs above all of those kids as well? The dog in the yearbook is listed as staff. I wouldn't even want my kids touching these people, let alone going inside that nasty school. But aside from the health problems, the real danger here is the indoctrination, what they're actually teaching them. This is actually their way of desensitizing the students, which makes it more likely for them to be attacked by dogs.
Willow is just here just to love you and to just tell you everything's gonna be okay.
So they're forcing kids to detach from reality and to be delusional. They are trying their best to remove probably the most healthy fear that a child could have in this country, the fear of dogs. She said the dog is there to love you and to tell you that everything is going to be okay. How is it mentally healthy to teach kids to detach themselves from reality to such an extent that it endangers them? That should warrant the arrest of the teachers in that school. The most dangerous thing that's going on is how they're being desensitized. When we hear all these dog attacks that I report on nonstop, in many of those cases, those kids have been desensitized. That's why many times they're actually trying to play with the dog. They're trying to interact with the dog, doing exactly what they were taught to do by the parents, and here you see also by the teachers. These teachers, they play a role in many of these maulings. What about that don't y'all get? And I'm not talking to the followers of this channel, I'm talking to these nutters.
Me and Amy have that connection that I know that I can trust her with what I'm going through.
Trust the dog with what you're going through? The state of delusion. Notice that drugged up dog has fallen asleep. Something that can only happen if it's drugged up. If it were not drugged up, it would be so stimulated by the new environment, the new faces, being surrounded by all these people, it would have a flippin' anxiety attack. The only way it can sit there and fall asleep is if it is heavily sedated, which is even more sadistic and demonic because it adds to the deception. They project the idea to the students that dogs are naturally this calm, when in reality, they have a heavily drugged up dog inside that school.
And a pup's unconditional love to make their day brighter and relieve anxiety.
Unconditional love. When the dog is not doing anything at all, sniffing their hand, maybe licking their hand, literally doing nothing at all, this is not an example of love. The miseducation here, the deception, these are a bunch of sick freaks.
And relieve anxiety and depression.
Relieve anxiety and depression. They don't relieve anxiety, and they do not relieve depression.
Her son's mental health crisis 16 years ago.
He attempted to take his life in front of his little brother.
I can understand why. If he has a mother like you, a mother that is far more excited about dogs, who puts dogs above them, why wouldn't he feel worthless? And I know for a fact this woman exalts dogs over her kids. Look at her. She wants to bring dogs into every school in Minnesota. You want to be the apple of your parents' eye, but instead it's a dog. And no matter how hard you try, she always loves the dog more. Yeah, that would drive a child crazy. And notice, there are 5 students right there on the floor. It's not a whole classroom. They're projecting this idea that everybody loved the dogs. No. They don't bother to teach these kids that, hey, guess what else? These are the only creatures in society that mutilate you on a regular basis. They send about 1,000 of you into the emergency room every single day in the United States. That is what they should be teaching them. Instead, they're lying to them and teaching them that these things are harmless. But I'm the bad guy for pointing this out. That's enough of these sick freaks. Now, this is going on all across the country. This surfaced 5 days ago.
This lady says, do you know about this dog? I said, no. So, new this morning, one school system is counting on a Pearl to make an impact on kids on their first day and way beyond.
Good. Yeah, this is Pearl. What do you think? Do you like her?
Okay.
Pearl will be on
patrol. Okay, let me stop this. You know what? I'm not going to show this. You know what this is? This is endangerment right here. And it's child abuse. That is sick. All of these therapy dogs are drugged up. Not once have they ever brought a dog in as a therapy dog in a school. And that dog was not drugged up. Check this out.
Guys, Tucker was prescribed some trazodone before his vet appointment tomorrow. So I'm going to give it to him.
It was prescribed some anti-anxiety medication for its vet visit tomorrow. So she has to give this dog.
So I'm going to give it to him tonight at 6 p.m. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and then give him another pill. And then I'll give him a pill at 2 p.m.
This is before a visit to the vet. Keep in mind, that's only one person. And the vet told her to drug it up first. They told her, don't bring your dog in here unless you've given it 3 separate doses. And you telling me they don't drug those dogs up before they bring them into schools? Now she has drugged this thing up. This thing is going into the vet office after 3 consecutive well-timed doses. Listen to what she says.
He has to come back in a few weeks to up the vaccines again and for a checkup. She's checking the lumps to see if they're fatty. He's still very nervous, but he's taking...
She said it's still very nervous. After 3 doses, it's still very nervous. It's only one person that walks into the room, people.
Food and not making puddles on the floor of drool. So a little bit of shaking, a little bit of panting.
A little bit of shaking and a little bit of panting. You're going to be able to see this dog trembling.
But he took
you can see it now.
And it was really sweet. You were so sweet with the vet. Yeah.
So she did give us...
Listen, look at this.
A lot more trazodone for...
And then they gave her a whole lot more for what?
For next time.
For next time. The vet demands that the dog is drugged up before she brings it in. And we supposed to assume that these therapy dogs y'all bringing into schools are not drugged up, even though they're going into these schools falling asleep? Look at this.
He was not panting as much. He was not drooling as much. He was still shaking and panting.
You see the hair on its back legs? After 3 consecutive doses, this mutant, this deranged mutant, she said he was still shaking and panting and really scared of what? Of one flipping person walking into the room. And we supposed to believe that these things around a whole classroom full of kids is calm, so calm it falls asleep. Get out of here. You know how deceptive, you know how misleading that is? To bring a deadly creature that's drugged up into a school around kids and tell the kids, come rub on it, knowing that in the real world, they're going to deal with dogs that are not on drugs, that are not sedated, that may be bully breeds. And because these nutters taught those kids to go up and rub on dogs when they see them, they do it out in the real world and get mutilated. That's a case of those teachers literally teaching those kids to do something dangerous, deadly, something that can kill them. And that's why that should be illegal. These people should not be able to bring dogs into schools. And I believe this bringing therapy dogs into schools is on the clock.